Hello again. I hope you're doing well. I'm super excited to be making another video. Today, I would like to talk about a simple topic. At least it might seem simple at first, but I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into it. I want to talk about the golden rule. Now, I'm pretty sure we all have it memorized, but I have found that many people either misattribute it to circumstances or they use it to justify things that and behaviors that aren't actually very healthy. And that might be surprising to some of you, but I'm going to explain. So the golden rule has been in some form or fashion in civilizations and cultures throughout history. Dating back to like 2000 BCE, there's an old Egyptian story where it's quoted as saying, "Do unto the doer to make him do." So in essence, like lead by example, right? Confucius has a line where he says, "That which you would not have done to you, do not do unto others." That's kind of the negative version of the golden rule. But the version that we're most used to hearing is "do unto others as you would have them do unto you." And that actually is pulled from Christian biblical scripture, Matthew 7:12. And I find it interesting because even though people know that line, a lot of people don't know the other scriptures around it or the actual healthy way you should apply it, scripture outside, right? Um, because if I love the Detroit Lions, and I would love for somebody to buy me Detroit Lions gear. Does that mean that I'm going to go in every single birthday and Christmas gift, I'm going to give people Detroit Lions stuff? No. Because, see, the problem is people tend to take the form of the thing or the behavior that they're giving or doing to somebody else rather than the value that's behind it, right? If I'm an extrovert and my partner is an introvert and I get home from work and I know that I love when people ask me about my day so I can talk about the stories and the people I met. If I go to my partner and say, "Hey, how was your day? Tell me about it, blah, blah, blah," and they're an introvert and they're just like, "I just want some quiet time." See, I don't actually want to do to my partner what I would have them do unto me because I'm actually just bothering them because they aren't me, right? It's not the form, it's the value behind it. What I actually want, what we all actually want, is to be known. And I think that's the part that is missing, right? We actually want to be seen, and if we ask for something, heard and respected and responded to. The scriptures that come before Matthew 7:12 say, "If your son asks you for bread, will you give him stone? If he asks for a fish, will you give him a snake?" It has nothing to do with what you would want, give it to others. It's when people ask you for something, when they reveal themselves to you, when they make themselves vulnerable and tell them what they need, or tell you what they need, um, to respond to it. So when I like getting Detroit Lions items, what I really like is when people get to know me, learn about my interests, and then decide they want to foster those interests. So to do others as I would like to have done to me means to learn about others, decide to invest in their interests, right? And it's the value itself, not the form it takes. And I think sometimes we miss that. And it can be detrimental, right? Because sometimes we might think about love languages. Some of us like physical contact, right? Sometimes if I'm sad, I love when people come and give me a hug and let me like cry on their shoulder, right? But I can't just go up to a person that I see as sad and touch them, right? Because we don't know what they've been through, especially if we haven't taken the time to get to know them, to learn about them, right? Then we might actually cause more damage. They might have a violent history and have gone through some traumas, right? So I know this more than anybody in the chaplain position because I can't go around and every person I meet just treat them as if I'm talking to Travis. Because I would be very blunt and very kind of aggressive with my tactics because that's how I like to be treated. I like when people are like, "Yo, Travis, Nix, bro, you're messing up. That was rude. That was inappropriate. That was, you're being lazy right now." I like when people are just calling me out. I can't do that to everybody I meet. I have to learn, see, acknowledge, respect so that I can treat them properly because that's what I would love for somebody to do to me. Learn about me, get to know me, respect me, and then decide to help, right? And so I think sometimes we use the golden rule to justify the way we treat others when in reality we're ignoring the steps of getting to know them and learning what they actually want. And recently we've actually heard the platinum rule being made, which says, "Do unto others as they would have you do unto them." And I would argue we don't need the platinum rule because that's literally what the golden rule is supposed to be. We've just twisted it all this time. So that's the first thing that I see a lot of people doing or misinterpreting about the golden rule. Context is important. If you're pulling from scripture, you got to know the rest of it. But the other thing that's, I don't know why I have to explain this, but I hear it all the time, is when people use the golden rule to justify retaliation. Oh man, he said that crap to me, so I wasn't having it. Golden rule, he did it to me. That means he was asking for it. The golden rule is a way to reflect on what you are doing. If the person did something to you that you did not like, most likely they were not practicing the golden rule. They didn't decide one day I'm going to punch this guy because I would really love to be punched, right? I hear that a lot, and I've heard that a number of times since coming on as a chaplain, where people are like, man, but you got to understand, Travis, he did this to me in golden rule, right? And I'm like, no, because your retaliation to what he's doing means that if you do something to someone else, you want them to retaliate to you. That's what the golden rule means. So I hope a lot of that kind of meta deep dive second, third layer messaging about the golden rule didn't confuse you. But I've just heard that said, because I don't know what it is. I'm a chaplain, and everyone wants to tell me their idioms. Life is like a box of chocolates, or nothing certain but death and taxes. A lot of people will use the golden rule, like, oh yeah, Travis, man, golden rule. And I think it's important if we're going to be living by these principles and these idioms that we actually understand what they mean. So I just felt like I'd talk on that tonight. If you have any questions, if you need me for anything, obviously feel free to reach out. Talk to you later.